In this tutorial, I'll provide an overview of the Cut My Ribs and Massive Unroll script, both written by Dimitri Stefanescu. These scripts are used to generate waffle structures, and it's a really versatile script. Has some bugs, which I'll show you, but it's a really handy tool for generating waffle structures. Unlike the waffle structures that we used in our earlier tutorial by Andrew Payne, these are milk crate waffles. They're not restricted to a plane. You can do radial waffles, and you can also do objects that have different internal and external contours. So it's a very versatile tool. It automates a lot of the work in building waffle structures, but there's some things that you have to be aware of as you're incorporating these two scripts into your workflow. Now, we'll start off as always with an object, and we'll generate an object in Rhino. This one was generated through a series of Boolean operations. Once we have our object, we then will use either our contour or our section command to create a series of vertical and horizontal sections of our object. These sections will be used to generate planar surfaces, okay, that will then be incorporated into the Cut My Rib scripts, which will generate our egg crate or our waffle intersection structure. Once we've done that, then we will use our Massive Unroll script to unroll our sections, which will then prepare for laser cutting. There are several parts to this process, and instead of doing it all in one big tutorial, I'm going to break it up into sections, detailing each step along the way so that you can deal with each one of the processes necessary to generate a waffle object such as this or a radial object. And I'll break up the processes so that you have a good sense of the workflow. When you start to create your waffle structures, the most important thing that you need to do is to make sure that the work is dimensioned properly. It's best to set the dimensions for your work before you cut your waffle ribs, your half lap section ribs into your objects, because it's a lot harder to scale it down later so that you maintain the size of your ribs as you increase the size of your model. So dimensioning your work is very important. And the first step in dimensioning your work is setting up your unit size. So we come up here to our options tab and we bring up our options. Rhino usually defaults the model units to millimeters. And you can work in millimeters if that's your preference. But some of you like to work in inches. And when you convert it to inches and you click OK, if you click on yes, model units change from millimeters to inch, scale model by 0.039701. This will convert whatever the size is in millimeters to inches. And when you do that, what happens is that the scale of your model shrinks. Okay, and that's usually not what you want it to do. So I'm going to hit Control Z, okay, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to convert to millimeters to inches. If you want to maintain your model as you built it or as you anticipate that it will be in inches, click on No, and that just maintains the size, and it converts the size that it was in millimeters straight to those same units in inches, so that if it was 25 in millimeters before you created it, it'll automatically make it 25 inches, and that's very helpful. Now, the next thing that we need to know is we need to find out what the overall dimensions of our model is in X, Y, and Z. Or in order to do that, we have a very handy command. If we click on our object and we type in bounding box, the bounding box represents the max X, max Y, and max Z of your model. And we're going to use our world plane to generate our box. And here it goes, right here. And what it does, it draws a box around the extents of your object. It draws a box around the extents of your object. So if you want to get the dimensions of your object, you can now click on your bounding box and type in linear dimension. And if you have your end snap and your near snap on, it becomes really easy. You can click here, click there, and drag that out. That's 16.53. Come over here, drag there. That's 20.92 there in size. I'm going to switch to my right window here. I'm going to go there and drag out, and that's 29.47. And that is the overall dimensions of my object. And this information is very useful, especially when you're handing the files over to the technician for processing, because when you hand them a file with these dimensions in it like that, and with the bounding box around it, if you like, it lets them know immediately the size that you intend for your object to be, which is very important as you begin any digital fabrication process. Now this completes our section on dimensioning. In our next section, we're going to talk about sectioning and using the contour commands to generate our serial slices through our models for building waffle structures.